I'd like to call this meeting of the Boonville City Council to order. At this time, I would ask everyone to please rise. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Beach, followed by a prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lord, for a beautiful day. Thank you for all the wonderful people that volunteer their time and also work hard to help the city be better. Help us tonight to see you clearly in the decisions that we make. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Teresa, if you would please call roll.
Beach,
Here.
Hurt,
Here.
Livingston,
Here.
Ehlers,
Here.
Dorman,
Here.
Young,
Here.
Evans,
Here.
Meadows.
Hearing of citizens' comments, it's at this time that if anyone would like to make comments, we ask that you come to the microphone and make those comments, and we ask that you limit it to 5 minutes. And we have a group from the Central Missouri Cancer Memorial Park making a presentation
Thank you.
this evening.
I'm going to put your name on there too, Wes.
Okay. Again, my name's Charlie Melksman. With me is Wes Davis, and the other people that you see here will be listed in the booklets that you have, but we are here representing the Central Missouri Cancer Memorial Park, and we appreciate the opportunity, and good evening to the honorable members of the City Council, Mayor, Earl, Megan, and Teresa. Again, we appreciate the opportunity to be here to update. Primarily, this is what it is. And Julie, we appreciate you inviting us back to do so in the case. I might make note that we've got these two ladies over here with a banner drawing, but you see this in your actual booklet. I'll go through this quite quickly before Wes takes over with explaining what the drawing actually reflects in that manner. But we were back in front of the city. It's probably been about a year and a half or so ago. We really went through a lull. It was just some really mitigating circumstances that got us in that lull, and basically here just in a short while we got out of that. One of the big things that Wes will speak to is we ultimately found an architect that would work with us and leave a lot of money on the table, and that took us almost a year to do. I appreciate Dennis Paul and Septagon who gave us that direction and made those contacts for us, but again, Wes will speak to that. When you open your booklet, you'll note board members. You'll see each of these people are here tonight: Pat Davis, Wes Davis, Elaine Gramley, Connie Hackman, Charlie Melksman. TC's not here, I don't believe tonight. No. Diana Thomas and Connie Whitehurst. Those are the board members. We previously had two other board members. Of course, Dane was on the board and passed, and Trish Lutz, Special Olympics, was on the board, and she was elevated in a new position with Special Olympics, and she's not out of sight nor sound for us to use from that nature. In the very recent past, if you go through on the second page, we've also have attempted to put out in front of all the community the fact that we're not here just asking for donations from people and et cetera. We've done a lot of work in starting some major fundraisers. One of the more interesting fundraisers that we had, and primarily through Connie Whitehurst and Connie Hackman, we worked at Texas Roadhouse, and to sell the rolls. They allowed us to buy them for $1 for a dozen, tub of butter, and we sold them for $4. And I think they finally thought, well, these people never stop coming back, because I think we sold 1,100 dozen and raised $3,300 with that fundraiser from that. The Hypnotist comedy show was a great show. Terry DeBolt did a great job for us. We had an auction. I was explaining to a couple of people that most of the auction items were retail value or even greater. That was the sense of the community. We really went out and hustled the community, but again, many of the people in the community were very kind in what they did. This was truly something that we wouldn't have been successful but for the community. Also making note, you'll see a 9/12 collaboration fundraiser with the Masonic Lodge. Roy Carey, Marty Stover, we've already met with that group here recently. We set a date of 9/12, and everyone in this room knows that when the Masons are involved, they do it's very successful in that standpoint. So we're going to do an actual lunch, et cetera, and have a silent auction type thing. And our goal, we hope is probably raise anywhere between $5,000 and $15,000 from that as well too. We've gone out and major contributors, Nordyne has donated $5,000, kind of startup money for this thing. We were able to, I might make mention that because we elected not to pursue the not-for-profit, and ultimately we may do that because there's some grants we can't pursue even with the relationship that we have with Community Foundation of Central Missouri. We work with John Baker, signed a contract with him, so we're able to advertise the fact that the dollars are tax deductible. So that's been a great success for us now. And in that account, we've got about $15,000, and we've got some money over in Citizens Community Bank that we draw off on occasion, and that's probably about $1,500. So, but again, the Ala Capri donated $1,000. Recently, we had a presentation to the Caterpillar Community Outreach. I'm just certain that they will be able to do something for us as well too. They've got a major foundation through their corporate office, but again, you have to be a not-for-profit, and we'll work toward that. We have done some grants through MFA Oil Foundation. That's pending a little later. Discussion with National Association of Realtors placemaking micro grant. I was very pleased. I think there had to be some realtor that put them on to us, because the gentleman called me, and we're working toward a grant there. It might be up to $2,500. The State Farm Neighborhood Assist, we worked with that, but we were not in the final 200 out of 4,000. We didn't get there with that, but we worked hard toward that. Marketing. We know that one of the strengths that we do not have on our board, not to take away from who is on our board, because we've got a great board, but we don't have some professional marketing. We know we need to be there. And meeting with the Masonic Lodge, they dropped the name of this Eva Clough, and I always will have a tough time saying her name. We have met with Eva. She is a pure marketing person, retired at Boonville, Washington, D.C., Arizona, and here. I asked if it was okay. I put a resume in there. She said, that's fine. She is going to start working with us. She's in Florida right now, but when she gets back, we're going to develop a brochure. She's going to work with us, getting us, into the other central Missouri townships such as Sedalia, Marshall, Columbia, Mobley, and et cetera, and become visible with that situation as well, too. So that kind of gives you an idea. You see the pictorial that Wes will talk to, and over here on the banner as well too, and I want to leave that with Wes. But I just again want to read. We put together a letter that we've directed out to people as well too, and we're starting slowly but surely to do that. And part of what we said is that though the park will be located in Boonville, it was named Central Missouri because it will be a park that can honor those from all over Central Missouri. Over the past few years, we have worked closely with the City of Boonville to find an appropriate location for this park. City officials throughout this process have been cooperative and most supportive, and we may note that where the park is going to be located. And kind of going on with this thing, we talk about a number of people that will be diagnosed with cancer throughout their lifetime, et cetera, and we make note of the fact that this park can truly be our legacy. And again, that's what we are hoping that people will say, yes, we understand it, because it will be here well after all of us are gone from that standpoint. And again, we're making, requesting contributions to that type of letter. Equally, though, what's quite interesting is we made contact with some other people, kind of one by one, but we made contact with Boone Hospital Center because of the healing garden that they have. And we were able to take paperwork. In fact, it was somewhat odd. I was over at Boone Hospital Center Friday, and Andrea Fansler, who is in charge of their foundation, saw that my wife was in there, and she followed up and caught me and said, now that we're putting a face with everything, but we're meeting and so forth, and they want to do something, but they're not for sure what they're going to do at this point in time. So there's all these connections that are starting to take place from that standpoint. And with that, Wes.
My name is Wes Davis. Are we okay in time?
Yes, go ahead, yeah.
Okay. I've been working with, I've met with P&W Architects in Columbia on a couple of occasions, and when we first started talking with them, we asked them to give us a concept. They came back with 3, and out of the 3, this is the one that we chose as a board. We were excited about the design. While I was there, this is a small story. The architect told me that he had a sister that had a brain tumor, had cancer as a child. So he has kind of a, he's really excited about working with us on this. Also, right now, they are working on civil drawings for us for as far as our elevations, and we do want the park to be completely handicap accessible. Everything in the drawing, right now we've been working on gazebos, what type of gazebo that we want. We have been looking at them as a board. The benches that are going to be back in the private seating areas there, we've been working on design for the benches and what we think. Basically everything we're looking at, we want to fit within the architecture of Kemper campus. We don't want something down there that's going to look out of place. So we are looking for things that I think will blend in quite nicely with campus. Also we've already been in touch with local landscaper. We do have a bid from him for all the trees, bushes, flowers, planting beds, the water features that are in there. So we are kind of starting to get an idea of what we think the project may run. We are going to try to keep everything local. As far as we probably will hire some work done, and we want to do it within the local contractors, and really about all I've got here.
I was a little bit unfair with Wes too, but I told him I would speak to the guy. There's two sides to this as well too, and I think what's neat though, and this can be done with some coloration of the sidewalk, so forth. Put your hand over here, that's a ribbon, cancer. You know, there you get cancer. But what one side will be is the gazebo, which we're looking at, some very nice gazebos in long-term respect of this. But the gazebo will be the side where people can go there, and it's the Bible side. It's in honor of, in celebration, those people that are fighting cancer and winning a battle or stabilizing a battle. That's this side. That's what that side's about. This side will be one of remembrance. It's a remembrance tree. We planted a very nice-sized tree there with some other things around it, maybe some half walls with blocks that will ultimately sell, with some matchings and so forth too to help raise money. So that will be a side where people come over if they want to take a moment to reflect, or they want to pray, or whatever they do. But that's a remembrance side. That's why it's split. And also, I might say, when we talk about engaging the community, when you see our logo, the letterhead type stuff, we asked our art class out here at the high school to make us several of those and so forth, and 27 of them participated in that. We came back to the board and we chose that one to best reflect, and that's the letterhead that we'll use going forward. Any questions?
Are you contemplating a sidewalk to that spot? You know, it's kind of down in the corner.
Yes.
Is it coming from 3rd Street or coming around some way?
That's one of the issues that, because with the ADA requirements that, and the elevation change from the 3rd, that we will probably have to have a ramp of some sort there, and that's kind of what we were working on now, is how we're going to enter into the park.
If you just come straight off 3rd Street, you got the grade.
Yeah.
The only other thought is if you do something else, you know, we're going to do some work on Science Hall. It would probably be good if you waited till that was done, because we're going to remove some of that sidewalk, and there's going to be a lot of activity there over the next year anyway. So
the architect we're working with is doing Science Hall for you all.
Okay.
That's Eric Miller. So
Okay.
yeah.
So we had talked about kind of down in the corner, so is this towards the corner, or, okay.
Exactly what was described originally. The thoughts would be is that there'd be a buffer zone between this and the house, and here this accordingly. Yes. We went down there and walked it off, kind of sized it a little bit, and
Okay. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Do you have a goal, a monetary goal in mind, or?
What we've been indicating to people is between $100,000 to $150,000. With the bid that we've had on the landscaping side, and the others, we feel that between $100,000 and $125,000 we bid that. That's a tentative. We want, of course, somewhat of an endowment to help maintain. This landscaper has indicated, though, for what price he has quoted, he will for 2 years maintain the park. So that's a good start for that. But the goal is to do the endowment side. Bringing this marketing person forward will help us tremendously, getting into these other communities, et cetera. have those resources.
Okay. Any questions? So this is kind of new for some of our council members. It's been a while since we've talked about it, so we'll have to kind of revisit all this, try to refresh our memory.
No, I appreciate the invitation. Of course, we'll be back with you for that final one. And I think that Wes and I both know, talking to these architects, and they're great people, but, you know, they've got projects that, you know, pay their bills, and, you know, whenever they can fit this work in, that's what they're attempting to do, so.
Yeah.
And do some other things.
Okay. Well, maybe if we could get together, I know Gary is our ADA person, and he may be able to give you some pointers, and maybe we could kind of stake out exactly where it's going to be and look at it, so.
He's gonna take care of the bushes that die.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comments? Okay. Approval of the minutes of the May 4th, 2015 council meeting. Those were in your packet, and you've had the weekend to read those. Any additions or corrections or questions about those? Seeing none, they will stand as presented. Consent items, we have none this evening. Presentation of accounts and claims. Teresa, when you're ready.
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the Council of the City of Boonville as follows. Section 1, for the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the City of Boonville, which has been allowed by the Council at the regular meeting thereof on May 19th, 2015, in the sum of $386,069.39. General Fund, $190,367.76. Sanitation, $19,758.67. CIP tax, $17,096.62. Waterworks, $21,284.01. Capital projects, $1,115.60. Wastewater, $62,611.76. Tourism, $4,651.38. Gaming, $69,183.59. Parks and Water, $0.00. Section 2, the bookkeeper is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $386,069.39, being the total amount of money above appropriated. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage, first reading on May 19th, 2015, read for the second time this date, 19th day of May, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mark?
Mayor, I move we approve this ordinance.
Second.
Okay. I would like to add, it should be May 18th. If you could make those changes, and it's in there like 5 times. So. Sorry. Questions? Comments? Roll call.
Beach.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
Ehlers.
Yes.
Dorman.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Unfinished business. We have none. New business. Item A, first reading of bill number 2015-016, requesting voluntary annexation and zoning of approximately 311 acres owned by Arthur Henry Properties, LLC, at the northeast corner of Highway 87 and I-70, and setting a public hearing for June 15th.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, annexing certain contiguous territory at the northeast corner of Highway 87 and Interstate 70, commonly known as Hale Ridge Golf Course, and Arthur Henry Properties, LLC, into the City of Boonville, Missouri, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Okay. We need to set a public hearing. Mark?
Mayor, I move that we set a public hearing for June the 15th, 2015 at 7 p.m.
Okay, do I hear a second? Second. Thank you, Kari. That would be not the next meeting, but the one after that, 2 meetings from now. Any comments? Roll call.
Beach.
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Ayers,
Yes.
Dorman,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll have the public hearing, and then, Ed Rapp will be in attendance that evening, as I understand it. Mhm. Okay. Item B, consider street closure and parking restriction request for Central Missouri Community Actions Barbecue event. Brad Woolridge and Evan Melkersman are here this evening. This is a new event, so I've asked them to kind of tell us a little bit about it and explain the street closures and what's going to be happening where.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council. I'm not sure exactly how the packets work these days, but I think we previously went around the neighborhood, Evan and I did, and tried to contact any of the affected residents of 6th Street and any of the business owners that would have been affected by the requested street closures or parking restrictions. If it makes it a little easier, I also made photocopies of the aerial map. If anybody had questions, I could send
You
them
might
around.
pass those out. They might be a little more detailed than what we
I've
have.
actually just highlighted the area itself, the proposed area before. But the request itself affects several different areas in downtown Boonville. Primarily, our request was to close 6th Street from Spring down to Vine, then to close Chestnut Street from 6th Street to Main, and then to close the city parking lot that is on the corner of Chestnut Street and 6th Street. Several different reasons that we have requested all those different closures, and I think I'll start with a little history of the event. CMCA and Evan and a lady named Pam Bierup out of the CMCA office in Columbia started this competition several years ago down at the Isle Capri parking lot. The first year, I assisted with doing some beer vending while we were down there, and there were 8 teams. It was absolutely starting from scratch barbecue competition. Last year, although I kind of remained as an advisor, if you will, I didn't participate in it. And there were, I think, the second year, 16 teams?
Yeah.
16 teams. We about doubled the teams. Very fortunate for this barbecue competition is we were able to get sanctioned by the Kansas City Barbecue Society in the last year. And if you're not familiar with the Kansas City Barbecue Society, it is the largest barbecue organization in the entire world. There's 19,000 members worldwide, but the KCBS only sanctions and supports about 450 barbecue competitions every single year, all over the entire world. We have the opportunity to be one of those this year. There are very strict rules that need to be followed in regards to the judging, what's to be prepared, how it's to be prepared, so on and so forth. So we saw this as a tremendous opportunity to expand the barbecue competition, and thus far we already have 32 teams registered. So we are growing, we're doubling in size and growing exponentially every single year. And with this one, we looked at trying to find a more central location in downtown Boonville so it could be a bigger draw to the downtown area. We looked at different schedules and found first week in June, June 5th and 6th as an ideal weekend. Before Heritage Days, after Memorial Day, give an opportunity to draw people in. And fortunate for us, there is no other barbecue competition in mid-Missouri in the month of June, so we are it. The request for the closures and how they affect 6th Street themselves was based on the amount of space that we thought we may need if we can find 50 competing teams. These teams are bringing in trailers that vary anywhere from 15 feet to 40 feet. So space was going to be a concern. We thought 6th Street with its wide curbs would give us an opportunity to line both sides of the street. And then Chestnut, we would be able to utilize between what I call the green space, the Flowers Foods green space, and the city parking lot, with potential spillover, if necessary, further to the west from the alley on up to Main. That alley is an actual emergency route, so we didn't plan on blocking that at all. The parking lot itself was an ideal place for us to put the tent for the judging and for people to congregate at. That's where I, on behalf of WJ's, will set up a small beer tent and will sell out towards 6th Street. But it's a tremendous opportunity for the town, I think. The issue in regards to the parking lot is we're limited on where we can find sources of power. The power sources run parallel, run north-south along that alley on the west side of the parking lot. And there's a big power drop that's already there and established. That would be a good source of power, along with a small power drop behind Fire Station 2. There are no other poles we can find where we can find other power sources to even drop to a temporary along 6th Street itself. So that was one of the primary reasons we were requesting the closure of the parking lot, because I can draw power and get it out to the competitors that need power from that source. A couple other things about the event itself. I had said we're continuing to grow. This is a fundraiser. It's a fundraiser for Central Missouri Community Action. Obviously, as Evan is one of our department heads here in town, but it's a fundraiser overall for Central Missouri Community Action. And last year, even with only 16 teams, they managed to raise approximately $7,600 in net proceeds to go towards CMCA. And if you can take the numbers and see what the potential is now as a fundraiser, where this could go in the future with Kansas City Barbecue Society behind us. Whether it's going back to the Smithsonian article that just came out recently, and with the opportunity I think we have as a town, I see this thing in a couple of years being as big as the Big Muddy, the Peddler's Jamboree, Festival of the Arts. This could be a draw across the entire Midwest. We've got teams coming in from out of state to want to be in Boonville on a random weekend in June. I think that's a huge opportunity for us.
Okay.
I'm open to any questions. I know Evan's he can explain a little bit more on the CMCA side. So.
The other interesting thing about the event, too, is that Pam has, in the 32 teams, those are not all just Missouri teams. She's gotten calls from New York, big teams from all across the country that are interested in competing in this event. So, 50 teams, just so we don't get too overwhelmed, but it's going to be a big draw, and we see this as being a huge, not only a huge fundraiser, but a huge economic opportunity for Boonville. So I think we can both benefit and win from this event.
Okay. Any questions? Mark?
Brad, the alley on Chestnut, so you'll barricade it on both sides so people can pass that alley?
I talked to ML a few weeks ago. What the interest would be is I would take some city sawhorses, the ones that are lightweight and easy to move, block Chestnut Street on both sides of the alley, so the emergency route would remain open, so that if emergency vehicles did need to go north or south through that alley, they could. Again, we don't really have any intent to use Chestnut from the alley to Main, but I would rather include it in the closure request if we did need it than to have extra teams come in and then us not have a place to put them. So if we don't spill over, we're not even going to move any further to the west.
Okay. Any other questions? I have a couple. We always have to keep in mind kind of a balance. We do have businesses that help us pay those sales taxes that we pay our bills with, so we have to keep them happy too. First State Community Bank, will they still be able to access their parking lot and their drive-through?
The suggested closure shouldn't have any detrimental effect on First State. I think there might have been some confusion, and I'm not sure where it came from, because we don't have any intent to affect Spring Street at all. Spring Street was only referenced in regards to being the northernmost stopping point of 6th Street being closed. So Spring Street would remain open throughout the event. The alley, as Mr. Livingston had inquired about, the alley would remain open, so First State's parking lot would remain open, their drive-through would remain open, and then the alley that runs east and west between Coppers, et cetera, and First State Community Bank where their ATM is, will also remain open. We're not going over there at all.
Okay, so people can still access.
Yeah, and I think there was another concern about some of the parking that was available back there.
Yes.
If you guys are familiar with that parking lot, there are, I count them up, there's 8 parking spots that are on the western edge of the city-owned parking lot. What we would like to do is move eastward back so that those parking spots could remain open, where people could pull in off of the alley itself and have parking. So if there are any customers of any of the establishments on Main Street or business owners that wanted to utilize those parking areas, they still could. Our primary concern, though, on that edge, it's important for us because that's where the power drop is.
Right.
So what I was going to do was literally just block one parking spot to then force some extension cords and what down there. I'll use some cattle panels or something to keep it safe.
Another nice thing that we have now is we have people living upstairs in a lot of these apartments, so we have to kind of keep that in mind. And, you know, that'll give the folks
Yeah.
that live up there a place to park if they
Yeah,
have trouble
and the western edge of that parking lot hopefully is only affected to the extent that we're drawing power from it. If we have somebody that has a big trailer and they want to drop their trailer and park their truck, we need to have some other places where we can move vehicles. It'd be nice if we can fill up 50 teams, and we're going to start by placing them on the street, and then they're going to spill over up Chestnut and onto the parking lot, so.
Okay. Any other questions? Chief Carmichael, do you see any problems with accessing the alley, or?
No.
Okay.
What do they do with Miss Melanie?
Okay. And I'm sure you've visited with the health department about this. Have they?
Well, Laura and I have an ongoing conversation
Okay.
pretty weekly about different things going on this summer, so, she'll be contacted. What we've done with other events that I participated with is, we link them, if they have questions, they need to contact the health department directly.
Okay.
The guys that are coming into town they're professionals, they're
Yeah.
gonna know the rules, there's not gonna
Right.
be fly-by-night.
They may be used to stricter rules
Yeah.
than even we have, so.
They're pretty self-sufficient too, they come with pretty much everything that they need.
Okay. If they don't have it, they can buy it in Boonville.
Exactly.
There you
Be
go.
sure and tell them that.
Exactly.
Okay. Any other questions? Well, I would entertain a motion to grant the request. Becky?
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Beach,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Ayers,
Yes.
Dorman,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you,
you guys
gentlemen.
very
Good
much.
luck. What a
Thank
great
you.
fundraiser.
Thank you very much.
That's fun. Item C, consider Resolution R 2015-06, approving an agreement with Remsel Corporation for RTP Project 2014-08, South Katy Bridge Trailhead Improvements. Teresa?
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri authorizing and approving an agreement between Remsel Corporation and the City of Boonville, Missouri pertaining to RTP Project 2014-08, South Katy Bridge Trailhead Improvements, and providing an effective date therefore. Whereas the City of Boonville has solicited and received bids for this project and determined that Remsel Corporation represents the best bid pursuant to the purchasing code set forth in Section 2-20 of the City of Boonville Code of Ordinances. Therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain agreement between Remsel Corporation and the City of Boonville, Missouri relating to the RTP Project 2014-08 South Katy Bridge Trailhead Improvements, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A, is attached hereto and made a part hereof, is hereby approved. Section 2, that the city administrator and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest to said agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval past this 18th day of May 2015 by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Looking for a motion. Mark?
Mayor, I move we approve this resolution.
Do I hear a second? Second. Corey? Questions or comments? The bid document's on the back of the resolution, and there were only 2 bids received on that.
This is for the area between Morgan Street and the bridge, kind of back on the back aisle entrance, parallel to the trail that's not in use now. It's kind of a driveway with a parking lot on the end of it with some drainage improvements in it and maybe a light or 2.
Roll call.
Beach,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Ayers,
Yes.
Dorman,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes. Reports of standing committees, Board of Public Works, Becky?
Minutes are in your packet. I have yet to attend my first meeting. They're there from the last meeting.
Planning and zoning, Steve?
The meeting was canceled due to lack of
agenda items.
Okay, but I understand there will be a meeting
The ninth.
next month. Okay. Reports of city officials, city administrator, Earl?
I'm going to defer some updates to Kate this evening.
The tourism department and economic development have been slowly saving money over the years to contribute to the Gingrich Warehouse project, and we finally have a fairly good fund, so we're going to be able to do some pretty significant changes to the exterior of the building this year. I just want to tell you what we've done in the past couple of years. We tuck pointed, we put a new roof, we re-stuccoed the space between the brick and the foundation, or I should say the dirt. We waterproofed the basement, we repainted the signs, and we redid the light monitors. And so now we are kind of ready to, we kind of stabilized the building, and now we're ready to really make some exterior improvements. The design really came out of when we worked with the architects out of Kansas City several years ago to put a wraparound deck kind of on the southeast corner and put in some big shop windows. I'm past this, I pulled this one off. So there are two packages that are out right now. The first one is the exterior. It's the wraparound deck. It's to redo all of the windows. It's to install large shop windows in the back, kind of like on the Katy Trail side. And on the east side of the building, to do an ADA ramp, to do the main entrance will now be the east side, which is the Katy Trail side, so you'll walk up the steps and the ADA ramp will be on that side. It's all on one side. We're going to reorient the entrance on Spring Street so it goes west, and right now it comes out into the street, and we don't really want people walking out into the street, so we're reorienting towards the west, but it ultimately will just be an emergency exit. So those are the big changes. And then depending on the cost of that project, we also have a second package out to do some HVAC, which would basically be like the kind of the back half, for lack of a better word, on the trail side of the project, which would, if we're able to do that, conceivably, perhaps Katie could move in maybe next year. Might be a little sparse in there, but she could maybe move in. So we're getting closer. This would be the last of the exterior, and then we'd be able to focus on the interior. If you guys have any questions. We open bids on June 4th for that one.
I'm hearing a lot of positive comments just from the the repainting of the signage.
That looks really nice.
A lot of
and the
people are
tuck
like,
pointing.
I've never noticed that. Everybody's
Yeah.
like, I've never noticed that building before.
Yeah, that
What is that?
that plan included some pictures from when they had it, and it's really interesting to see them. Just kind of, now we're just used to it looking so great.
So people are curious about it, and I think pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
So,
Any
other questions? Any other questions for Kate?
What are you saying, Paul? We also finally received some news from the Economic Development Administration. They moved slowly, just to be perfectly honest with you. So we opened bids on Science Hall on April 7th, just to give you a sense of time. Friday, I was told that we could get a signature on a contract. So we are, the group is going to be getting, with GBH Builders, they were the low bidder, so they are getting their contract coming in. So this should come to you guys on June 1st. But before you get too excited, it has to go back to EDA with the signatures for one more approval before we get to move to construction. So maybe in August we will start turning dirt. So that's just a little update on that one. And those bids were really good. They came in under, so that was good for us.
Okay. Any questions on that for Kate? Okay. Mayor, I have nothing. City Councilor, Megan?
Nothing this evening.
Economic Development, City Clerk,
Nothing this evening.
Building Inspector, he doesn't have a report this time. Miscellaneous, anyone have any miscellaneous? But ML jumped up first, Ned.
My legs are faster than your arms.
Yep, you're good, ML.
In your council packets, you have a flyer for the tire, electronic, e-waste, household hazardous waste collection on May 30th. In past years, these collections, either single commodity or combined commodity collections, have been held in each of the 8 counties of the Mid-Missouri Solid Waste Management District, of which Cooper County is one. But as, like everything else, they've narrowed down. Last year, 2 collections were held. This year, 1 collection is going to be held in those 8 counties. And the reason, there's a couple reasons for it, but primarily the money's down, tipping fees from landfills is down, and DNR has tightened up a little bit on on how we can spend money for these collections. And since there's only going to be 1 Columbia, it was chosen because it's generally centrally located, and that's why it's a 3-banger collection. The downside to having a collection this size in Columbia is the last time we did a combined collection in Columbia, we had 500 automobiles show up. So that's good in that it indicates people are serious about recycling and getting rid of this stuff. It's unfortunate in that if you're going to attend, you need to get there early and get in line. We're as good as we can be with processing it, but it still takes a little time. So if you're going to come to the collection, you need to get there early and plan on being there.
All day.
How are they going to publicize?
Well, the Mid-Missouri Solid Waste Management District has done ads in the paper, and then we've got some flyers posted around. And that's actually part of the problem with DNR. DNR complained because we charge to offset the cost for the tires, for example. DNR complained that it was earned income. Earned income made you less eligible for grant money. So, and then the earned income goes to things like buying ads in the Columbia Tribune, the Boonville Daily News, and the Unterrified Democrat, and those local papers.
Unterrified?
The Unterrified Democrat is the Osage County weekly newspaper. I love saying that, the Unterrified Democrat.
Thank you for explaining that. I didn't know that was the name of the paper.
Made my day.
That's right.
Okay. Ned, did you still want to make a comment?
Well, that was one of them,
Oh,
by the way, so
okay,
that was good. The other one was, and Gary's here.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get any reaction from your plea to the council and from Edward's article?
I had a couple citizens comment to me, but as far as a general overall commentary, no. I will tell you that since we've started locking them down, we have had no further incidences. Of course, they can't get into them to
Can't
turn
get
them
there,
on.
right.
Yeah, except maybe during the evening, but there's enough foot traffic with the spectators and things from the softball games. And then on the weekends with shelter house reservations, there's enough activity going on that they're not evidently brazen enough to go in there and tear something up. There's a possibility somebody might catch them.
Well, if that's the answer, then that's the answer.
And that's the way we're proceeding right now, so. It's unfortunate because if some parent takes their children over there to play on the playground equipment, if one of the youngsters has got to go potty, then they're going to have to go home.
Right.
But we'll see how this goes. We may be able later on to loosen up a little bit and see if the message got across. And I'm also working with Jeremy Fleming, and we're pursuing some additional camera options.
Ah, good.
So I won't say anything more about that right now. So
Good for you.
not
Thanks.
inside the bathroom. So.
Okay. Thanks, Gary.
They'll all be outside.
Is that it, Ned?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Any other miscellaneous?
Mayor,
Uh-huh.
if you haven't been by the fire station, go by and look at the yard. I mow a few yards, but that yard really looks nice, Tim. And I meant to say this about a month ago, because it looked nice then too, but it there's times when grass mows different than it does other times, and it just looks better. Well, today is one of those days it really looks good. Whoever's doing it is doing a great job. That's a beautiful focal point for Boonville. You drive over to Columbia and you see Butler buildings for fire stations, and we have a nice fire station. We caught a lot of flack for it, but it's nice.
You're saying it was worth the flack?
It was worth it.
Yeah.
I had a gentleman that told me that we spent he says, I know you spent $3 million on that. And I said, no, it was, and we had just had a meeting the night before, and I had paperwork in my truck, and I showed him it was 1.6.
Good.
I just wanted to thank the American Legion. You guys might not have heard, but they've agreed to take over the flag duties for Main Street on holidays. So with the JCs folding, was it JCs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the JCs folding, we kind of had tried to take up some of it, but when Morris Carter left, he graciously agreed to do it. So if you see him, please give him thank you for doing it, because we got a lot of really positive, thankful comments for putting all those flags out.
Mm-hmm. Steve?
Does that include the Missouri flags?
No, we're still doing those.
Oh, the Missouri flags. Okay. Kind of a follow-up to Henry's comment. This has been an especially beautiful spring, I think, for flower gardens and trees and grass. So I'd urge everybody to stop and smell the roses. A lot of times we get so caught up in looking at all the bad things and the derelict houses and the grass that's this tall and all that kind of stuff, but take some time and look at the good things, because there's a lot of those out there. We're a good town, so I hear it constantly.
Well said.
Anything else? Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Steve?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.